Greetings, my people. Greetings, my people. Greetings, my people. Today is Sunday, June the 2nd. It is 2:17 p.m. And I titled this, y'all know I always kind of forget my title, but listening to emotionally respond, tearing the black man down. Okay. And based on that, and I know again, look, and I'm really gonna get beyond talking about this because I'm not doing nothing but triggering emotions. I'm not doing nothing but triggering your feelings. Now, some of y'all, I shout out to y'all that y'all are really listening to understand what I'm saying. Y'all are not just listening to respond. So shout out to y'all that's actually listening to hear me. I appreciate you. You guys are heard just like you negative boo birds. But in meiotic fashion, balance, positive and negative, the polarity of things. So I am not going to stop speaking on hard topics just because you guys don't like what I'm saying. And what I mean in saying tearing the black man down, I made a post and one of my brothers posted it yesterday, and I got overwhelming good support in the video. But it's always those ones that sit there that saying, um, pertaining to Umar Johnson, and I said Umar Johnson dismisses and minimizes domestic violence when talking about Diddy and Cassie. And I had people in the comments that did not listen to my opening part where and what's crazy is I read the post off of his page twice. And one dude said, "You're spreading false information." And even though the information is right there on his personal page, the cognitive dissonance makes you say this is false information. But nonetheless, now I am going to play an audio, and I already know where y'all minds are gonna go. You're going to stick with one part and dismiss the rest. But listen to what I'm saying. He's minimizing and caping for Diddy. Now, I'm going to play this. If you are triggered, do not listen. If you are a man fan, do not listen. If you are a supporter, do not listen. I do not need you to listen if you are only going to get emotionally triggered and get in the comments and say just emotionally dumb shit. Okay, so listen. This is not me. This is y'all guy. He's speaking on Diddy.
Problems didn't start until he decided to sue the parent company of the liquor brand that he sells. Right after that, that's when the first allegation started. So a part of me says that this is a smack on the hand to remind him who's really in charge. I think it's an experiment. It's a social experiment by the American white power structure to see how willing Black America will be in allowing them to destroy our billionaires as a pretext to destroying our revolutionaries. So who decided to target him and not all the others guilty of the same crimes? You follow what I'm saying? Right. So this clearly ain't about sex trafficking because they do that. It ain't about molestation, they do that. It ain't about rape or exploitation of women, they do that. You understand? Yeah. The whole culture is based on that. So he can't be getting in trouble for that because the whole music industry be getting in trouble for that. Puffy has no need to sexually traffic women and children. He can pay people to come to his house. Now, what he does to them after then could be subject to some legal inquiry, right? Yeah. But to say Puffy is out here participating in the kidnapping of strangers, bringing them to his house and then selling them, I'm not buying that. But sexually trafficking strangers and bringing them to his house and hide them and selling them, yeah, no way do I believe that. Yeah.
Okay. So did you guys hear? Okay. Now let's kick the ballistics and be real. Honestly, so far I haven't heard anything about sex trafficking. So I don't even know why that was brought up. That was to me that was a minute point. Um, so I haven't heard anything. And if you have, and y'all know, if y'all listen to my to my content, I'll say if you know stuff, get in the comments and let's have a conversation. See, this is what happens. You guys are so used to black leaders just telling you everything and pitching perfect and not respecting your opinion or not respecting your voice and always telling you something. Why is it y'all always want somebody to preach to y'all and tell y'all something? But I know why. It's that worship gene that I was talking about. So, okay, what did I say in my last video? And I'm going to tag the people that were saying this. He minimized it. Notice he made nothing about the domestic violence. He went to talking about, and see, this is what we do too. We say, well, his first trouble started when he went against that right there. Right? And it probably was. Notice I shook my head and said it was. But again, let's talk about what we do know. See, we did this with R. Kelly. We did this with a lot of that. We talk about the things that are just allegations. So until it's proven, it is allegations. We can't pin nothing on a person's jacket. I don't do that. That's not honorable. But let's talk about what we did see. Let's talk about what we do know when it comes to Diddy. And like I always say, let me see, I hit the wrong one. When it comes to these colors, you are a representation. Now, what that representation is, I do think we need to clear the line because it's a vast, and you ask 10 people, you probably get 11 answers because the math don't math all the time. But when you are supposed to be the most prolific speaker, and you make it nothing, and you say, I don't believe he was sex trafficked. I don't know if he did. Just like, see, this is the thing. And again, that cat Freddie P, he made a lot of sense for making the band, right? He said, he said, I don't have to speak against you, but I'm not gonna speak for you. Notice what he said too. What did he say about the billionaires? How did he label the billionaires? He said, our billionaires. He said, our billionaires. Right? So he also said that he believed it was a what? Social experiment, right? To see how we would go against our billionaires in the same way, in juxtaposition of how against our revolutionaries. Now, to even correlate and put those on the same level is freaking insanity. So this is what we do know. We do know we saw him beat up a woman on tape. We know that. Can we all say that that's fact? Hit in the comments. As I said, do not get in my comments with your emotional babble, because what y'all do is you don't listen to the facts. You hear the one thing and you'll make it about that. When I just sit here and say it, it's not about that. And I'm really beyond talking about this past this point because I can't see your comment, fam. Could you retype it, fam? But and appreciate you hopping on. Welcome. I will say welcome. I will say greetings. But what we have to do is get beyond this worship, right? Because what we do know is that he's not been an honorable guy. Talking about Diddy. I'm not even gonna talk about Umar. Because what did I say? I said he minimizes it. He spoke nothing to what we saw. So far from that right there. He spoke nothing to a man beating that woman down. Like I said, Cameron dismissed it. Stephen A. Smith dismissed it. So even if that's not in your heart, the code for us should be we should denounce that behavior, even if you don't believe it. I'm going to say that again. Right? Even if we don't believe it, that should be the code. Because what's bigger is, and I'm going to tell you, I have a lady friend, and she was so hurt. She was so hurt when she read Umar Johnson's dismissal on IG, because I deal with the people, right? I deal with the people, and the first thing people will come and say is, "Well, what are you doing?" Like the one guy was like, the one goofy was like, "Get in your community and get active." That's emotion talking. You're being emotional. You're not practicing what they would say emotional intelligence. You're just being emotional because you see the title and you have built these people up as heroes. Stop doing that. Polite has failed you. Nature Boy failed you. Malachi York failed you. All of these people, whoever you got, I'm sorry if y'all are followers, just ignore it. Because what I'm not going to do is argue with your emotions. I'm just simply not going to do that. That is the problem, that we can never solve the problem because we get so emotionally invested in things that don't matter. You get so caught up in your humanity. For him to say our billionaires, well, how have those billions impacted the development of the Black community, Umar Johnson? Because what did I say in that? What did I say in my last video? That they will make it seem that you are the problem. That you what does people like Lil Scrappy get on TV and say? It was Black people that brought down R. Kelly. Right? Let's talk real shit, because like I said, it's bigger than Umar Johnson. It's bigger than R. Kelly. It's bigger than whoever you can name me, whoever I name. It's bigger. But all of these are little small components that make it big. Am I making sense to y'all? So because of your love and because of your emotion, because of your affinity for music or songs that a certain artist or a movie or sports that somebody may have brought you in life, you dismiss everything, you minimize it. Now, I don't know he did. I don't know if he sex trafficked nobody, but I don't know he did it, right? So, and what's shameful is when the Black females get into the comments and they speak up for guys that just are against their own interests. How many times do you hear them get up here and say, stop tearing down Black women? Listen, this is why I say mental homosexuals. Like I said, I'm gonna learn y'all that word. It's not that they physically want to, but these dudes, they can't help but to give their allegiance to another man, or regardless. Now, I read to you in one of my other videos, and I'm gonna read it again. And it's from a dude named Yuri Bezmenov. Yuri Bezmenov. Go behind me. Stop always listening for somebody to teach you something. Go behind me. Let's really start a learning culture where you're not trying to prove me right. This is not Sinetta. You're not trying to prove me wrong. If I'm in error, say, yo, bro, I caught something that you said. Correct me. See, this is what's wrong. We think that we're above correcting. These guys have got you so gassed up on the hype that you think everything that come out their mouth is factual. Sometimes they're off, but most of the time, I'm spot on. Nobody has came and said, yo, bro, you were wrong about that. Now, I'm capable of being wrong. So me even acknowledging that. But this is what I want to talk about. It's called Ideological Subversion by Yuri, Y-U-R-I, Bezmenov, B-E-Z-M-I-N-O-V, Bezmenov. He was an expert in Soviet Union propaganda, right? And I keep telling y'all about Edward Bernays, all these propaganda. Learn how you were conditioned and stop beating down your people and talking about Black people. I'm gonna get to y'all about tearing down the Black man, because that's what the topic of this. And he says, ideological subversion is the slow process to change the process of reality of every American. Not just some, every American. Change perception in spite of the abundance of information. No one is able to come to a sensible conclusion in the interest of defending themselves, their families, and their countries. Now I'm gonna read that again. Ideological subversion is the slow process to change the process of reality of every American. Change perception In spite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to a sensible conclusion in the interest of defending themselves, their families, communities, or country. And why did I read that? Because no matter, you know who you really should see, because I'm not even an expert on telling you about Umar Johnson. There's a dude named Lennon Honor. That's where you go see. Lennon Honor. Just go look at it. For anybody that's getting triggered and don't like what I'm saying, just go check this brother information out. And listen to accept information. Not listen, don't go over there with your mind already made up, because you may as well not even go over there. If you're gonna go over there with the intentions of it's wrong and he's hating, ideological subversion. Right? But let's get to tearing the black man down, right? Because that's what we say. Because like I said, I'm gonna get beyond this. But I do think black men, no matter how you feel, we should speak. Because back to my friend that I was telling you about. She was so hurt. She said, Obasi, I'm so glad I met you. She said, because I was the biggest Umar Johnson fan until I began to what? Listen to you. She said, I didn't like the things you would say because I felt like you were being negative. But once I started listening, I was able to pay attention for myself. She said, but I am hurt as a black woman. When I tell you about these characters like Charleston White, there's a female, I can't even say sister, there's this black female, and she does content about just straight up divesting with white boys, right? And guess who examples she used as trash black men? She uses Charleston White. She says Charleston White wants black people to forgive Diddy. She says this is why, whether we like her logic of what she's saying, everybody has a story. And what we do is we dismiss people's story because we don't like the griots, or we don't like the person that's telling the story. We don't like the narrator. So you nitpick and say, well, it said this, and it wasn't even about the video. Well, nobody ever said sexual assault, and you make it, again, like I said, about something that it's never about. Now, I'm going to listen and see how much your emotional intelligence and how much. Now, I don't know. If you just get in my comments to say negative stuff, you ain't listen to a squat that I said. Because where does this leave the future? You know, we are always told to hide ourselves. And I'm going to get back to the sister. We are always told to hide ourselves. Yet we think we're supposed to produce courageous, strong children. Now, I'm not saying go out and in a blaze and scream to the mountaintop. That's not what I'm saying. But everything has balance. This is why they think white boys are better, because guess what they see? They see fearlessness. But I know they're cowards. They see fearlessness in white boys. Because he's going to speak his mind, whether he says like Aaron Rodgers, I'm just not going to take the vaccine. There ain't nothing you can do. And they didn't even push it. They didn't even push up on Aaron Rodgers, but they destroyed Kyrie Irving. You want to talk about tearing down a black man? They destroyed Kyrie Irving. Shaq, Charles Barkley, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, all of them sat on television and destroyed him. Tearing the black man down, right? Let's roll with that. We're going to get off Umar. Y'all ain't ready to hear about y'all pastor. But just keep listening. Just keep listening and keep paying attention. Right? Tearing down the black man, right? When it comes to dating, ladies, if a man is short, how do you treat him? Let's get the ballistics now. You treat him as if he's not even a man. You say the most derogatory things about him. Because you have this preconceived notion what the ideal man, which so I always ask this question. I say, do you love the image? Do you really love the black man, or do you love the image? So let's talk about the everyday black man, because when we talk about celebrities, that is a fanaticism. You're fanatics, you're fanboys, you're fangirls. If I talk about your favorite conscious leader, if I was to mention Louis Farrakhan, you would get offended, and everything I'm saying passed in, because that's your leader. Fair game. Have whoever you want. I just want to make you think, huh, Dan Calloway. But to sit here as an aware black man in 2024 and say, I am going to play dumb, deaf, and blind to critical issues in our community just because of feelings, I can't do that. I'm not going to subject my soul to that, to y'all sensitivity. Everybody's so sensitive, right? How many people tore up John Morant? Tearing the black man down, right? How many people call John Morant stupid? How did social media treat John Morant? Y'all brought him up like he was MC Gusto, or like he was Papa Doc from 8 Mile. He went to private school. You talked about the man's daddy. You said the man's daddy was low. It's a young brother. What about the young man in Colorado, Cormani McClain? Cormani got all kind of struggles. But when it comes to Deion Sanders versus Cormani McClain, you instantly chose a side. I personally go over to that young man's page on IG and read the comments of dudes my age and how they're talking to that young man. Tearing down the black man, right? We're talking about tearing down black men, right? See, it's okay to tear him down when it's a black man that you don't like, or when it's a black man that offends another black man that you like. Regardless to what y'all think about Kanye West, you can hate him. Fair game. I'm gonna get me a t-shirt that say fair game. Because you know the problem? We try to box in how everybody's supposed to think. This monolithic way. Every black man is supposed to conduct himself. No black man is supposed to speak to power. No black man. We're all different. If we are all of the X-Men, they didn't have the same power, did they? You had Wolverine, you had Cyclops, you had Gambit, you had Rogue, you had Storm, you had Beast, you had Magneto, you had Professor X. But what they learned how to do was use their differences and their power collectively against different issues or different enemies. Am I right? But in your way, you want, because y'all still got that spirit of control, which is Western. You want to control how everybody around you are. You want to control how people think. I ain't telling you what to think. I'm just telling you to think. Think about that. Let's analyze information. We say we scholars, right? You say you graduated college. You say you got degrees, right? You don't have a degree of information, right? So you'll come to a black man like me and question, what am I doing? What am I doing? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about me. My resume is stamped. I used to know this Jamaican brother. His name was Simon, and I don't care what you ask him. He said, "You Google that shit, motherfucker." Now ain't nothing gonna come up if you Google me. But still, right? We always, the first thing we do is question another person. You questioning the wrong ones. Dude, the other dude said the school is built. Stop. Okay, like I said, I'm past that, but I'm gonna tap on everything. If the school is done, why aren't he in there teaching children? Think. And you know what? You know what the biggest problem is? Is that by the time you realize it's a problem, look at how much damage has happened. Look at how much damage has happened because you was in your emotions. You was in what you like. Like I told y'all, we base everything on what we like or dislike. That is your human emotion. I don't like this, so I'm going to dismiss it. I was guilty of it. Hell, partially I'm still because you work every day to grow through these emotions. You are to master your emotions. You are to learn to deal with them. You're not supposed to suppress them. That's why we have so many people walking around miserable. Right? You come up to a black man and you discredit me instantly. And I say all the time, my inbox is open as long as you're respectful. I'm available. My number is available. It ain't available, but if you really want to have a real conversation, we can. Because the goal is to understand, not agree. We've been tricked to think that progress is everybody getting along. This is why you hear dumb stuff like, let's just focus on the good stuff. We can't do that because that's delulu. You only want to focus on what makes you happy. You want to focus on the things that don't push you or challenge you to think outside of your narrow box. I keep telling you, I say stand on my circle. I don't say stand on your square. Your Westerners are square. It's a box. They would say think outside the box, but I stood on my square. Tearing down the black man. If he's undesirable, if he doesn't make money, look at how they are programming, how they have conditioned society. Majority of females, because my therapist told me stop saying all. Majority of females say, I want a man that's 6 feet. That's your right now. Fair game. I want a man that's this. I want a man, you really describing Captain Planet. Nowhere do you speak on how you want his character to be. Nowhere do you speak, when you speaking off top, you don't speak of what type of father you want him to be. How you want him to love. How you want him to protect. Now, deep down, you may think about these things, but what comes to your first mind is always the physical. But then we said we're spiritual beings, right? Because we pay so much attention to the physical. Right? So people will dismiss something just simply because it's me. Number one, because people are tired of me always talking and saying things. Right? Let's just kick the ballistics. They're tired of me saying, yo, look at this, look into this. It annoys them because we want to be delusional. We want to live we want to live happy. We want to think that everything is okay when we really understand that this society is effed up. They have conditioned black males to just destroy black females with children. Single mothers are destroyed. Let's talk about the tearing down of the black female. How come we don't never speak about that? Who are the black females that's really leading in this? Because we are a balanced people, complementarity, right? Because let's keep the bread funky. Let's keep the bread fresh. Most black males would not get behind a woman leadership because they're misogynistic. No more than the white people would get behind black leadership. They may pretend, but they're not going to get behind a black person because they don't follow. Didn't Baruti tell y'all in his book about zero sum? Read those books. Zero sum. They don't share power. So when I tell y'all it's about the psychology, it's not about what I feel or think. Y'all focus on too much on what Obasi's saying and where he's thinking. It's about the psychological trickology. That when you're look at social media, do not box yourself in and say, oh, that's a distraction. You know why? Because the youth aren't listening to really Umar Johnson. He's a joke. You know how? Because I'm in touch with the youth. I got big respect. The youth come talk to me because I don't make them feel like failures. I don't make them feel bad. I understand. You following people that don't even have a real relationship with the people outside of getting their money. Right? So the tricknology and the conditioning is, I keep talking about this, that Cassie's dude, the white guy, now is being looked at the protector. Because the black men whose voices are heard on mass levels are minimizing and saying, well, it's only because he crossed the wrong people. Hey, it's like that. Kanye crossed the wrong people. It's a lot of them. When you play that game with the devil, you can't cross those devils. What's understood don't need to be explained. But how does that negate or minimize what actually happened? Yes, where were the parents in R. Kelly's situation? Where were they? Let's spend time on that. Where were they? Yes, they were so negligent. They were shitty. All of those people around him should deserve to be in jail with him. Does that make you guys feel better to hear me say that? But who's responsible for his penis doing what it did? We have to show consequence. And like I always say, when you use that word, it doesn't mean physicality and violence, y'all. We walk up and down and talk about crashing out and setting shit off all the time until they start to do something. Then we say, well, we can't hurt nobody. Nobody said that. But this is why we are in last place. This is why they have conditioned our women to sit on these on these platforms and talk about divesting and talk about how black men ain't nothing, because the examples, y'all ain't paying attention. I hear everything. I see everything. Because these people that represent these very same colors and the ones that don't sit up here and minimize. This is what's coming out of their mouths. They're not conscious, but they are examples. Right? I don't make content just for likes. That's our problem. Because we clout chase so bad. Right? So whether you even understand, listen, like I said, you're wasting your time if you're telling me to stop talking about strong issues. You're wasting your time. I'm telling you, you might as well stop talking to me. Because it matters. The output of our children matter to me. I know how much to go. I know what to say. I'm very intelligent. But if we're not producing a caliber of boys that understand to protect and provide for young ladies, and vice versa, if we're not producing a caliber of young ladies that understand is to be feminine and to nurture, then what are we producing? Why are you in this? I got some questions. Hit those questions. Don't hit with your emotions. Answer these questions. That if we can't do anything about this, if we can't hold nobody to a standard, if we can't do, why are we doing it? Why are you doing it? If we can't do nothing, we may as well quit, right? If we have accepted defeat, it's over, right? If we keep saying it's nothing that we can do, you mean tell me we can't turn around one person? I already know where it's at with the masses. I'm not even focusing on that. Be careful what you're speaking out your mouth. We talk about manifestation all the time, right? And look at what we manifest. Oh, black folks ain't gonna never get right. Yeah, and in the masses of the conditioning, it looks like that, right? Let's talk about it. It looks like that. Because I understand the what? The handlers. Who are the controllers? The conditioners. You think I just keep saying Albert Bandura's name for fun? Follow these sources. Don't keep talking to me about what y'all feel and tearing down something and coming together and being happy. We've been trying to do this. We've been living in that delusional state for years of black representation. And that's exactly what they do. They represent us. The conscious black man that's on the scene talking represents all of us, whether we like it or not. It is foolish. You know what? Because guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to get off this because I know how to balance. But the truth must be spoken. I'm not going to surrender my voice because if you're scared, go to church. We're so afraid of what the big bad white boy is going to do if he hear you talking, if he see these colors. See that direction? He gonna know it's you. Guess what? When you really understand, like what Edward Snowden or Bradley Manning, but let's more so focus on like Edward Snowden, who's able to show you how they survey you. They know everything. It don't matter what I'm saying right here. They're listening. What did they show you in They Clone Tyrone? I talked about this thing. Remember when they're going in the underground tunnel and they have the people that the different songs were controlling their emotions? Do y'all remember this scene? Well, do you remember the white boy that had the clipboard and he was writing down the girl conversation that he was listening? What they tell you in Big Brother? Big Brother is what? Always watching. But you know what? That makes y'all live in comfort. You think that you can be quiet and they won't hear you. They hear every conversation. They know every book you order. Oh, you think Jeff Bezos just some regular white boy that don't? No. They know everything you order. We talk about, I was conversating in a group and they were saying that this police officer, they was like, oh man, we got to tread lightly because he knows what you ate for breakfast. So if you think a race soldier on that level knows and can investigate you, what do you think the creators of this stuff are able to do? I just don't live in that delusion, in that level of fear. I'm not foolish. A scared black crowd is a controlled black crowd. They control you through fear. If they know that they can strike fear in you, they know you ain't gonna say nothing. They got you. We already in the pot anyway, and they ain't gonna do nothing but turn up the heat. So I choose to live my spiritual purpose the way I know, not the way you think is fit. And I suggest you should too. Now, my soul brothers and sisters that I know that can hear me, because please don't mistake this and think that I'm talking to everybody. No, I say what I always say, I'm speaking to the condition. And that is what we must defeat, this condition, this sickness that's in us. And accepting the truth and doing the truth for yourself is what's that. Right? I said dismiss and minimize. But yeah, I'm about to get out of here because I could go, but I cut myself off. Remember, I'm gonna read you Ideological Subversion before I get out of here. And who is this by? What's his name? Go look up Yuri. Do your own research. Come back. Like I said, let's build together for the ones that really want to. If you bullshitting, don't even waste your time. But ideological subversion, the slow process to change the process of reality of every American, change perception. In spite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to a sensible conclusion in the best interest of defending themselves, their families, community, and country. Read it one more time. Ideological subversion is the slow process to change the process of reality of every American, change the perception. In spite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to a sensible conclusion in the interest of defending themselves, their families, community, and country. Right? So the more I talk about this, what's the conclusion? What do we do? Because if it's up to us, we've already accepted that it ain't that we can do. So it is what it is. So we're going to continue to be in last place. And then you're going to get mad at the youth that's to come and say, well, what they didn't do. Because the cycle continues. But we got to deal with self first. You got to get within right. And think, why do I accept this stuff? Why do we overlook these things? Because you've been trained to overlook it. Right? So that's my time. I'm going to get up out of here and I'm going to say peace.